You can then recover the device, fail back over with disaster recovery, add it to a block list, more importantly, check the patches that apply. Simply click to remediate down on the bottom right, and then you're basically good to go. I want to thank Jeff and the MSP Global team for putting me up here after Karen. That was really, really nice of you. Good lead-in for me to run this next topic. I saw her a couple years ago in Miami. She's absolutely fantastic presenter, a lot of information, so really great to have her here. I'm the Regional Vice President for the Americas at Acronis. Great to be with you all here this week. Obviously, I'm part of the big team from Acronis that's here. I want to talk to you today about EDR, XDR, MDR, and the solutions that Acronis brings to the market. You guys all know this. You've probably heard this ad nauseum, but traditional AV is no longer enough, right? The traditional antiviruses will scan a disk, but that's not how modern threats actually get into your systems. That's not how modern threats will disrupt your business or your customer's business. They come via exploits, they come via scripts, they come via macros, and you need next generation antivirus solution to actually combat those threats. So traditional AV is simply not sophisticated enough in an ever-evolving landscape, highlighted by what you saw Karen show a few minutes ago. The need for EDR, I think you all probably understand that there is a need for it. It was great that she plugged it at the end, saying that's one of the things you need to absolutely focus on from a business perspective. So what's driving the adoption of EDR across organizations? Well, obviously modern threats. They're becoming more frequent, they're becoming more complex, they're requiring advanced security controls to actually be able to combat them. Without advanced solutions, organizations are under increased risks of actually successful attacks. Service providers are blind to a lot of these threats because they're bypassed by other layers. Average time to contain a breach, it's about 1 month. It's quite expensive. Let's say $4.35 million average total cost to contain a breach. So obviously it's impacting businesses. It can impact your business as well as your customers. You have to be able to remediate and recover. You need to do that as quickly as possible, but you have to do it with ease and speed. You all have technicians who are extremely busy. You need to make sure that they're focused on the priorities. You need tools that can support you from the back end to make sure that you're successful. The other big driver is certainly compliance. It's mandatory. It's becoming more and more stringent. If your customers are looking for cyber insurance, there's certainly requirements that they're going to have to fulfill to be able to actually get that policy and feel more protected, be able to sleep better at night. Most of the regulations are very strict nowadays, and I think all the cyber insurance organizations are now requiring specifically EDR, XDR, and solutions like that. Some of them even mentioned by brand name. Your clients need it, right? So they need EDR, they need XDR, so what's the solution? Well, what Acronis does here today is talk about the challenges that you guys face as service providers and delivering these services to your customers, right? What you've heard or what you've probably seen is that EDR, XDR can be difficult to manage. It can be hard to deploy. It can be expensive. It hurdles your growth, right? Because then you're just delivering one solution. Getting beyond the endpoint is also a challenge for many of our partners. You're dealing with too many screens because you're dealing with disparate solutions that aren't unified in a single GUI or a single interface. And you're trying to keep everything compliant at the same time. There's a lot of moving pieces you have to keep going in the right direction. So I have good news. We think we can solve that problem for you. Want to address them one by one. We'll do a little bit of demo work as we go through this. But ultimately, the number one complaint, it's hard to use, hard to manage. Well, what we do is we have, in the past, been able to deliver solutions in one common interface, a unified experience. I hate the phrase single pane of glass because it doesn't really exist within the industry. But we do try to provide a unified and natively integrated experience for our partners that allow you to deliver multiple solutions to your customers, making sure that you're using a tool, your technicians are using a tool that's easy to use, easy to deliver, very complete at the same time. We deliver a complete offer that allows you to do rapid recovery. It comes at an affordable price. It's available in that unified platform, and it stops modern threats that allow your customers to actually reach the compliance that they're looking to obtain. So, what does it look like? Well, this is our UI. If you haven't seen it yet, you can certainly stop by our booth for a demo, but managing EDR does not take really advanced training, as you can see here. You'll see that going into the alert system, you can see the incidents that have been identified. You're immediately able to view the attack summary and then drill down into it. You'll see a simple summary provided by very readable and easy to understand language provided by ChatGPT. You can then go in, you find the actual affected device in that chain. Go in, stop the threats, You can quarantine them. You can then go in and roll them back to a previous backup solution. Our technology also allows for anti-malware scanning within the backup before you go and recover to make sure that you're recovering pure, clean backups. You can then recover the device, fail back over with disaster recovery, add it to a block list. More importantly, check the patches that apply. Simply click to remediate down on the bottom right, and then you're basically good to go. So, as you can see, not that hard to implement. Is it hard to deploy? Well, we also believe it's not that hard to deploy. Setting up is relatively simple. Let's start by going into devices again. Click on the machines with agents. You can select the machine type. Machine you see here already has a protection plan applied to it. It's being backed up. It has advanced security enabled. Then you can go in and edit the plan. You can add all these different components to your plan. Advanced next generation AV is already turned on here, but you can add additional functionality, including EDR, by simply just turning the toggle and implementing it. There are some prerequisites, right? You can go in and click enable for the device, which will provide different layers of protections. But at the end, basically, you'd make those changes, roll to the bottom of the screen, click to save the plan, and you're essentially good to go. EDR is expensive. Well, we can solve that pretty simply. We combine it all into one interface, one usable tool that combines backup, disaster recovery, endpoint detection response, extended detection response, email security, et cetera. All of those combined in one location for no additional cost. In fact, one simple price. Most of these starting at 90 cents. It can be done by per gigabyte or by user or by endpoint. Advanced security EDR is not an extension or anything in terms of that sense, but it's really its own existing advanced security pack, right? It contains all the functionalities of our advanced security capabilities. It's applicable in per gigabyte and per workload, as I mentioned. And then based on the data center that you're going into, the price is going to vary a little bit. But as you can see here, a ton of different features are enabled in one simple SKU, one agent that delivers all these capabilities, everything from behavior-based detection to event monitoring to forensic data collection. So really a complete solution at an extremely affordable price. How can EDR be a hurdle to your growth? Well, at the end of the day, you're providing pretty advanced solutions to your customer base, and you have a number of technicians that you want to be prioritized on the things that are important to your business. Advanced security EDR enables your business to analyze attacks in minutes and unlock a rapid response capability with automated, human-friendly, easy-to-read interpretation to be able to deliver the solution. It enables your team to focus on what matters and prioritize the visibility of suspicious attacks to go in and get them remediated properly. So you also want to know, beyond has the problem been fixed, how did it happen? How did the intrusion get in? How did it hide its tracks? What kind of harm was caused by the event? How did it spread across the network or across different devices? Our tools enable the event investigation to be done in minutes rather than hours without requiring rigorous training or high level of resources. So what does that look like? Pretty simple demo here. It's important to make sure that your endpoints are not just protected, but again, you see exactly what has happened to them, and you're able to trace back how the intrusion happened. We understand you guys all have the capability to monitor and respond to incidents on your own, but do you have the capability to really do it at a high level 24/7? What we do is we integrate with another partner to provide the MDR service to allow you to have a 24/7 SOC available at your fingertips. We still connect you. We still contact you to be able to contact your customer to go to the next step in terms of remediation, but it gives you an idea of how to support your customers really at another level that's higher than what you're doing today. Going beyond the endpoint is also an important topic, right? These intrusions are coming from many different levels, from many different areas. So we always talk about XDR as the kind of next thing that's happening. If you heard the roadmap presentation, if you were here at Partner Day a couple days ago, XDR was a big component of that, and we actually just released XDR 2.0. But overall, what we believe is that we have the most complete solution in a single offering that allows you to be highly efficient, highly effective, leverage ChatGPT and different AI tools to be the most efficient MSP that you can be. And it's platform built, right? All the stuff that we do and all the messaging you probably heard this week, we built this for MSPs. It took some time, but this is really designed to operate within your business and work with the tools that you guys use on a daily basis, right? Full integration, native integration, to your RMM, your PSA, other backup providers, storage providers, network tools, etc. So, what does the XDR component look like? Well, from our perspective, we wanted to make it obviously very simple. You could add endpoints to extend your detection here. We allow you to extend beyond just the endpoint. Once you've configured Enter ID or a perception point, you can simply turn on the XDR functionality. You see it up there in the top right of the screen. Once enabled, you can then open the incident. You can investigate the incident. You can see all the stuff you need to see with EDR, but then extend that much further. And you'll see much more data points and actions that you can perform by turning on the XDR functionality. You can do things like suspend a user. You can do things like remotely resetting passwords for your employees or for your customers. You can do things like terminating user sessions to make sure that you're shutting down operations to further contain a potential spread. You now have the ability to respond to these incidents in real time with a very rich, feature-rich capability, again, in a very easy-to-use interface. The other thing we hear a lot is there's too many screens, there's too many tabs. Some of you might see this screen here and get super excited. I don't. I work on 2 monitors, but at the end of the day, I think what the point here is that it can be a very complicated environment to be dealing with. So some of you might look at it and think it's cool, but ultimately, do you really want to have to go into multiple monitors? Do you really want to have to go in and log into multiple tools? It's another thing to need to have dozens of UIs to work and open, but should you have to do that? Can you do it all with just one? Would it simplify your operations? Would it streamline your operations? Would it make you more efficient? Would it save you money, right? At the end of the day, we believe we can deliver all of those things with our pretty straightforward solution. So what does that look like? Well, it's pretty simple. One of the core benefits to our platform is that everything is in the same interface to manage all of your devices. We also have capabilities within the platform that allow you to detect additional devices and see what devices might not be protected and make recommendations to add protection for those devices. You can remote into those devices. We have RMM capabilities. You can manage them. You can apply patches. You can do software and hardware inventory to understand what your potential attack surface looks like. We have capabilities that range from email security to disaster recovery, EDR response, vulnerability assessments, all the tools that you need to make sure that your customers are protected and that you're making business operations don't slow down or potentially come to a stop. All in one interface, making a complicated job for your technicians significantly easier. Compliance. This is a big one. I've heard a lot of these discussions this week at this event, and we believe we can combat this in a very creative way. The landscape has certainly changed pretty dramatically over, say, the past 10 years or so. With the advancement of a lot of organizations delivering cybersecurity today, a lot of those policies are being turned down for very simple reasons. Very simple checks are not being put into place. Capabilities are not being delivered to the end customer, to the endpoints to make sure that they're protected, to actually allow them to qualify for a cyber insurance policy. And that environment is changing pretty much every hour, every day. Everything we do at Acronis, everything we build is all built around the NIST framework. Identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. We follow established industry practices with our new advanced security and EDR capabilities. We enable you to deliver protection across the entire framework with a single platform. A lot of the competitors that we have in the space are missing a lot of the components that we've been doing for 20 plus years as a data protection provider, providing next generation backup and disaster recovery capabilities, again, in a single platform that's extremely easy to use. With the NIST framework, which is maintained by the US government, it pretty much carries the standard across the world, and then there's different countries that will adopt different aspects of it. We have the Essential 8, you have NIST 2, there's a lot of different frameworks that are being specifically adopted in certain countries. But what it means is that ultimately, they're trying to establish guidelines and best practices for you guys to manage cybersecurity risk on behalf of your customers. The framework consists of these five main functions, all the way from identify to recover, but they've added another one this year, including governance, right? And making sure that you are actually providing the framework to establish and monitor your customers' operations and make sure that they're completely protected. As I mentioned earlier, with our competitive landscape, most of the EDR providers that we come up against do not provide the complete capabilities here. They don't offer backup and disaster recovery as part of their core offering. We do. right? So when you get into a remediation, when you get into a recovery point, while you're doing all the forensics and analyzing the attack, you're actually able to do the recovery within the same tool, right? Within the same platform. And we think that that is incredibly powerful in terms of how we deliver the solution today. From a compliance standpoint, it's getting really scary out there because in some countries, the board of a company is now responsible for those cyber attacks. That can include massive fines. It could even potentially include jail times for people that are just not taking this seriously enough. So the governments are caring a lot about it. We're seeing a lot of people that are vulnerable to it. They need advanced solutions that can help you protect your customers' environments. So that's what we're looking to deliver here with these capabilities. Take you on a quick tour through our reporting capabilities. We feel like we have really good reporting here. Obviously, we provide a very clean and easy-to-use interface. It's very easy to digest. It's all widget-based, right? So all the information is available at your fingertips. These widgets can then be used to drive different reports. The information's available to you, but it can also be scheduled to be sent out to you or to your customers. In addition, what's also important to understand is the inventory in your environment, right? What does the attack surface look like? Where are the devices that aren't protected? How do you make sure that you're getting them on your dashboard, on your visibility? You can see EDR here within the dashboard as well. It's extremely important from a GDR perspective as well. As you can see here, you can go in and turn on different capabilities. And when you go to set up a protection plan, you can actually choose where you want your data to be located, right? So you can go in and select manually. It will automatically select based on the location that you're in, but it will actually allow you to select the location as to where you want your data to be located. If you want it to be down the street from me, you can go in and do that. If you want it to be in a separate Acronis data center, you can go in and do that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we allow you to do is have flexibility and control over where that data is located. I think it'll show you here. Yeah, you can choose from a number of different data centers. And you can also choose from your own data center, right? We offer a flexible solution that allows you to host your own data for your customers. And we integrate with the hyperscalers, right? We have instances with Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, really providing you complete control over where your data is actually located. To give you a little bit more visibility on that, this is a map of our current data center footprint. As you can see, we have a significant presence in the Americas and in Europe. We've built about, I think, 52, 54 data centers across the world at this point. All those delivering full capabilities. What we've seen is generally when we launch a data center in one of these areas, we see explosive growth from that area because we're very efficient in terms of how we deliver our infrastructure, significantly less expensive than some of the hyperscalers that are out there. And again, providing that full suite of complete solutions for your customer base to be able to go out and leverage that. If there's a location that's missing here that you think you need from a deployment perspective, please talk to one of us, stop by our booth, have a quick conversation with one of the reps. We'd be happy to deliver that information for you, see if we can get something set up. But I think the key here is that beyond our own infrastructure, you have the flexibility with your own capabilities to deliver your own infrastructure in your own data center. So we talked about a lot of different challenges today. Ultimately, from our perspective, those seven, it's right, difficult to manage, it's hard to deploy, it can be expensive, it can hurdle your growth. How do you get beyond the endpoint, right, into the extended detection response? What's further available within your network to potentially be attacked? Too many screens to work with, right? Working with through one interface that's unified across the tools that you guys use day in and day out, and keeping everything compliant. I think that's the major takeaway from this. It's becoming a real core requirement. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's like backup was back in the day, right? You have to have these things. They're almost becoming commoditized at this point. So hopefully from this session, you guys have understood the ways that we can address these different challenges and make you more efficient as business owners and service providers in protecting your clients. The highlight here is really kind of keeping it simple, right? You've heard the same messaging probably all week. We've had a lot of sessions here. Natively integrated, purpose-built for MSPs, easy to use, efficient, a unified experience for the MSP. Hope you guys are enjoying the show this week. Hope you enjoyed my talk. Really appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you guys over the next few hours here and at the party tonight. Thank you for your time.
Pat, thank you so much. Earlier you were talking about adding EDR and security into the backup. Here on site, we're seeing a lot of go native. Is that what you mean by go native?
Yeah, well, it's all about integrating with the tools that our partners use on a daily basis, and how do you have that really native experience with the other tool sets that you're using. And our product management and R&D teams have done a fantastic job identifying those tools. I think we have close to 300 integrations today that allow you to really run your business efficiently.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, you listed, I counted 7. There were 7 things you listed, and you hammered on compliance at the end. But which do you think is the biggest problem that MSPs face amongst those 7? Do you think it's compliance, or is it the difficulty? Which one's the...
I think it's complexity. I mean, we can probably have them speak for themselves, but I think it's the complexity they deal with multiple customers across multiple industries. That ties into compliance, right? You might have highly regulated customers in healthcare or in financial services. You might have others that might own a landscaping company and don't need that type of, focus on those types of compliance.
Well, let's ask the audience. Who thinks that complexity is the biggest challenge that you're facing out there right now? Right. Nobody thinks complexity is a problem.
Okay.
All right, I got a couple out there. There's another one. Let's hear it. What else do you think? Is it cost? Which is the biggest challenge? Is it compliance? Which is the biggest challenge in endpoints? Somebody out there. Compliance? You said compliance? Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. I think
They
it's
were
great.
out a little bit late at the connection party last night.
It was a good
Still
party.
waking up.
It was a good party. Pat, it's been great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Everybody, Pat Hurley.
Thank you.
Thank you.